We're gonna start with the pledge of allegiance. This order of business is the approval of the minutes.
Second.
So the first and the second, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed unanimously. Sorry, this is new, my voice is so loud now. All right, the approval of the order of agenda.
Moved.
Second. The first and second, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, motion passed unanimously. Approval of consent agenda, bills, employee status changes, overtime, filling site operation for kitchen, post bar and grill.
Second.
First and second, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, motion passed unanimously. Citizen comments, so are there any citizens here this afternoon that wants to address the board? Looks like there are none, so we will move on to the Grand Forks Public Health Director.
Good afternoon, Chair Hagan and members of the commission. Two agenda items coming from Public Health. The first one being a quarterly director's report. This is shared with the Board of Health on a quarterly basis and an informational only item per our JPA. And so I didn't know if you had any questions on that. I can certainly stand for them. The second item is an action item that we are requesting appointment of the Grand Forks County Health Officer. Dr. Wall serves both as the city health officer as well as the county health officer, and trying to be proactive that this would be in effect starting August 1st. And for any questions related to that, there is information that was submitted in the staff report around following North Dakota Century Code.
I have a quick question. Was there anybody, like, are you still gonna, I don't know if there's requirements to have people apply for this position, or is this just an appointed position?
This is an appointed position. There are certain criteria per Century Code that they have to be a licensed physician.
Thank you.
Dr. Waltz has agreed to be both the city and the county.
Correct, yep, and he shared wishes to continue.
Okay, then, Madam Chair, I would make that motion for Dr. Waltz to be the county representative.
Second.
In a second, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Good afternoon, Chair Hagan and members of the commission. So I thought I had two items on the agenda for today, but it looks like it says the contract to approve for out of services that's actually on the packet. My understanding is so I do have the president go over the expert on it and answer the questions you guys have on it, but I'm hoping to utilize that for our
Hi, thank you for come up here, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Anyways, is that I got a call for the assessment center, and what we came up with is a plan that's a no cost plan for you guys. Is that the way it works is that every indication on these places, and they're really flexible and programmable. So we can basically, or the staff can basically control who they talk to, who they don't talk to. Everything's recorded except for the attorney. There's block lists. Mom and dad can call if they're allowed to. Is that we've got all kinds of programs on here, self-help programs, videos, everything from trades, GED, is that all kinds of anger management. There's like 200 to 300 programs that we got on it for. And in addition to that, whatever that the center would like to add to it, we can add on here. So if they want to put a curriculum on here, we can put it on here. The other thing that we have is when the new juvenile comes in, is that they have to agree to the terms and conditions. It basically says, if you break it, you buy it. And then the other thing it says is that nothing's private and it's, the jail is responsible for this device, whether you have it or not. And it sets the rules up, but even in addition to that, there's things we can add there before this will even become active. Is the juvenile will have to, yeah, some of them are there, is the juvenile will have to agree to the terms and conditions. So if you put the rules of the assessment center on here, he has to agree to it, acknowledge it, and we keep track of that. So it's a really flexible tool. And we actually have these in 474 jails across the country. And we've been doing it since 2016 with UCs, and very successful. Is that very flexible? I think it's a perfect solution for the center. Is with the flexibility. The other thing is that there's no cost to it. Is there's like we got to put in 5 access points, and we'll pay for that. You know, to put those in. So it should truly be no cost to you. Is that there's 35% commission on the texting. The text messages are 9 cents a text. The thing is that the FCC made a ruling is we can't pay commission on telephones anymore or on the video because they can do telephone, video, and texting with these. Is that part we can't pay a commission on. That's a new rule that came up. So, but the texting part we do. Otherwise, it should be no cost, and you should actually make a little bit of money with it too. So, we're very happy to work with these guys. I'm very happy that if you let me do it, I'm very excited about it. So, yeah, I'll do our best. Make it good for you.
Madam Chair, how much does the county make on those?
Well, it'd be 35%. Is that like a regular jail? I'm talking about inmates, not juveniles. I don't really have a good history with juveniles, but is that we average like $7 a day is what our average is across the board. So it'd be 35% of that, but half of that is phones and half is texting. So you'd have 50% of $7, $3.50, 35% of that. That's our average from our jails. Okay, so. Yes, it's kind of funny. We're all over the country. And we don't have this jail here, but we aim to get it. But yeah, we love to work at the juvenile center for you guys. So we really appreciate it. You bet.
I have a quick question, sorry. Is that, so this is for a 5-year term? correct?
Yeah.
5-year term? And then, maybe I missed any reading here. Are there ways to just turn those off? Automatically?
Oh, yeah,
So like
total control. In fact, they have total control of the whole jail. So we usually set a schedule. So they come on at 8
Oh,
and then they go off
that
at
was my
10.
next question.
But the other thing is like, let's say you have a problem and everybody's not listening, you shut them all off.
Right,
And you just go through, if you have an inmate, you can say, hey, discipline, just say, okay, we're shutting your texting off. You keep acting up, we're shutting your phone off. You can do it on each one. So each one, you have complete control. And for this juvenile situation, it's awesome. I think it's really good.
how often do those cases break?
This case here has never been broken.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, but this is our 3rd generation. This actually has some same kind of stuff we use to make tractor fenders with. But we make them in Minot. And we have like 50,000 of them out there. Yeah.
If they ever need to be upgraded, you give them to the facility for free again.
Dude, what's that?
If you need to upgrade them, like you said, it's the 3rd generation, if you need to.
Oh, yeah, we continuously do. Yeah, is that it's probably every month we're loading. Like the latest thing that we did is translations and transcriptions and translations. So these guys will have the ability is that they'll bring up a call, they'll be able to click on it, and it'll show them what it says. Is that there's an AI function and it will give them what that person said in a text. We just had a situation out in McLean County where we just turned it on and there was an inmate, Hispanic inmate that had been running his business out of jail, but they didn't have the ability to know what he was saying. So we had translations, kick out transcriptions, and the guy's like, holy, oh my gosh, this guy's running his business out of here. But anyway, so it worked out really good. But we have that, and then everything's recorded, except for the attorney stuff, and they have complete control. They turn that on and off, so.
Any other questions?
If you could scroll to appendix A, I just want to make, because you said you can't charge, but then you have under appendix A, in voice calling required rate for jail. So is that not valid anymore?
No, is it the FCC, the rate is 12 cents, is what the new rate is, but the FCC says, they tell us what the rate's gonna be, but they also tell us we can't pay commission.
Okay,
On the rate.
got it,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure I had it right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so it's kind of a different deal, but
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
we're learning to work with it, so. I actually spoke to the chairman of the FCC, about it, and that's pretty cool. I mean, you don't get to do that very often, but, yeah.
Any other questions?
Move approval.
Second.
First and a second, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, no.
In front of you in your packet, you have two position request forms, one for open vacant position that I have currently, and the other for the July 1st approved in the budget position, which would be a full-time position to be shared between the admin offices and admin areas, non-detention areas of the jail, and then also when the new sheriff's office comes online, the position this time would be split out there. So I'm requesting that the ability to advertise for the open position as well as advertise for the position for the July 1st.
I just want to, before I make a motion, I don't think we shouldn't be starting people less than $20 an hour. We are just doing too much time interviewing and going through this at that. We're trying to compete with the fast food restaurant. We need to step it up. So, whatever it takes to do the great stuff, then just do it, get it done. So here's the motion. I move approval to go forward with both positions with a starting pay of $20 an hour.
What can, sorry. Myself. What is the grade 4 step 4 dollar amount? You know that? Anybody off the top of your head?
Grade 4, step 4 brings in, I believe, at
18 cents shy. Feel like we can keep that.
I second that motion.
No, sorry. No, much fun, right? Come on up.
If I could make a recommendation. Because we have the grades and steps and we haven't changed away from that. If you want to authorize us to start them at a step 5, which is the next step above, because we don't have a way in the system to make it at $20. We have to redo. So if you want to approve that they start at a step 5, that does not increase what a step 13 is, which is out the scale, just so you're aware. Right.
Minimum to whatever step or grade it's got to be to get to 20.
Yes, right.
First and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Schneider.
Yeah.
You're up next. Sir.
Sure, how you get members of the commission. Thanks for your time this afternoon. I only have one item for you today. The Grand Forks County Sheriff's Office Water Rescue Team has been awarded a grant from the state. And this is a 50% match grant. We've had this grant for years and years and years, probably decades. And it is budgeted for every single year in our water operations budget. This year, we're looking to accept a total grant amount of $6,155.50, which out of our budget will be $3,077.75. What I'm looking for today is I guess your discretion, if you prefer to have chair's signature on the 2 pages, or you authorize me to sign accepting the grant. And with that, I guess I'll stand for any questions.
I will authorize the sheriff to sign the grant and accept.
Second.
First and second, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And just for your awareness, this grant, we've been using it a little more thrifty, I guess, the last few years with active boat patrol on the river. And it has had a really good response. We've seen an uptick on use of life jackets. A couple years ago on regular routine patrol, they actually rescued, I think, 3 kayakers that were clinging onto the side of the river. So it is very useful to have that. Otherwise, obviously, we don't necessarily have the time to go and do routine patrol on the rivers. Thank you. I've nothing further.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that. Anybody have to go to the bathroom?
Did we plan for breakfast?
Yeah.
My bulb is on right now.
Oh, sure. He is fine. Take your time.
Well, some of this is broad just for being prepared. In case you have a question, hopefully I won't need that, but just in case. Okay. Yeah, I guess I have 9 things for consideration today.
Move approval all 9.
If you wouldn't mind. No.
That was a joke.
Yeah. The first item is approval of bids for culvert material. We had the same bids as last year. That one was pretty straightforward. True North Steel had a little bit on steel flat gates, or excuse me, steel pipe culvert, flat gates, and ABS and Ferguson were the same bidders on plastic pipe. They were the same pricing. If there are any questions, I would recommend approval of that one. There is no signature, there's no contract, but the approval of the minutes would be shared. So I'm going to approve that bid.
Second.
Here's the first and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The next one we have is the approval of our bids for aggregate. This one had a bit of a hiccup on it where we received 3 bids and the bid for Lakeside, they did not have the contract with the bond. It came with the bid envelope, so we did not open it at the time of the bid. Contractor called me a couple of days later and said, well, wait a minute, hey, if you look at other parts of the proposal, that's okay. And so our legal ad was different than our proposal, which is flabbergasted me because we've been using the same documentation for gravel for a long time, like years and years. And I would ask in collaboration with Ms. Wamstead that to consider Lakeside's bid now and to open the bid and consider it.
I would move approval. But do we have to make a motion?
Think so.
I would move approval. For you to open.
First and second, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Sorry, you have something else
I
to say.
would just maybe also make a motion to waive the defect, which would allow you to.
I would be, yes, include that in my motion.
Second.
All those in favor of the amended motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I will make sure that change is made for next year. Contractor's license is in here. Here it is. And insurance. Yes. Site has 3 pits. They have the Miller pit at $3.55 per ton. Fisher pit, $3.60 per ton. In the Groveland pit, $3.60 per ton. The hauling, they have at 32 cents per ton per mile for a 1 mile, 1 to 9 mile haul. And 20 cents for the other 3 hauling options. We bid gravel by the ton mile. So the longer you haul, the cheaper typically is, but they're at 20 cents for the last 3 options. They have crushed concrete at $19 per ton, located out at the Northwood Strand plant. And they own 14 trucks and rent others as needed.
Those numbers consistent with what you would consider to be market rate.
Yes, they are. They are right in line with the other contractors. And it would be my recommendation that we do what we did last year, where we accept Gowan, Close, and Lakeside as our suppliers for gravel, and we split it out. Or we split it out and share it among the 3, and our crushed concrete would go to Gowan Construction. They were a little bit on that. They were second. 17. Yeah, $17.
You said Gowan, who else?
Gowan, Close, and Lakeside for the class 13 aggregate.
I'm just making sure.
I'll move the whole department at West's recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The next one would be, chip seal. We had 47 mile chip seal we're getting prairie dog funds on. We had 2 bids on that, which is the only 2 contractors we have in the area. Engineer's estimate was 1.6 and the low bid was asphalt or Aztec, Asphalt Service Technologies, $1,499,962.32. We've done business with them in the past, and we would recommend Aztec for the project and Sharon Auditor's signature on the contract.
So move. Second, I have a question on the prairie dog funds in general. I noticed almost all your bids are coming in significantly lower. How long do you have to spend that money?
As long as we want.
Okay,
The money does not go anywhere.
okay,
I will get at that later, but yes, we have an unobligated 1.6 million left.
and you're getting more because I noticed all the bids came in significantly lower.
They did.
Yeah.
Our box covers came in really nice, so. So we have some room to,
The first and second on the floor, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
thank you. The next item I have is for the County Road 81 mill and overlay. From town here to the Thompson exit. We only had 2 bids on that, but Knife River and Zavero were both very close in the bids. RJ Zavero was the low bid at $1,177,826. Engineer's estimate was 1.6 million, $500,000 cheaper. But just to note for the board that 81 has significant gravel shoulders on there.
Yeah.
I did not make that part of the contract because we could do that cheaper ourselves. So we use the gravel bit to supply the gravel, and our forces will add gravel to the shoulders to go a little higher. But, with that, I would recommend approval of Zavero, RJ Zavero and Sons, and for chair and auditor's signature on the contract.
I move approval for the signatures. And acceptance.
I have a second on the question, that one too. Unless I misread that one, I didn't see a damages clause, but there was some damages clause on some other ones. You know, as far as liquefy, if they're late, should there have been one on that one or no?
Well, there would be.
Some of the other ones had, if they, X amount of dollars per day if they're late.
Correct.
Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see it on that contract. Should there be one on this?
There is one on this.
Okay, on D. Did you roll that, please?
It's This is why I
Keep
bring
going.
plans with. I don't,
Okay, it just says this, the said work shall be completed by September 30th, 2025, and witness blah, 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 blah. I did not see a damages clause on that one.
price is not there. It's in the contract there, or better be.
Oh, it'd be something you might have that I
It's in
don't,
the proposal that they agreed to and signed.
okay, I don't think I have that.
You wouldn't.
Okay, that's why I didn't see. it.
Okay,
But some of the other ones are the documents we saw. That's what threw me off.
yes,
Okay.
I can get it to you.
No, I believe it. I just want to make sure I didn't, because some of the other ones, it was in there. And I thought maybe that was standard, but maybe that's where it's standard. Oh, okay.
We got the first and the second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. The next item we have is for county-wide pavement markings. We received 2 bids on that. Low bid was 3E Specialties out of Fargo, $323,161.79. Engineer's estimate was $424,000 and change. Just to note, this is, we don't specifically budget this. This comes out of our construction fund. That's okay. Yeah, this was cheaper than, everything was cheaper than what we thought it was. I would recommend approval of 3D Specialties with chair and auditor signature on contract. So.
Second.
We got the first and the second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. The next project I have on here is for 4 box culverts. This one really came in a lot lower. This would be also prairie dog funds. We had it estimated at. It was almost 1.9 million. What it was 1.9, and this came in at,
1 million.
yeah, just right over 1 million. So we have 900,000 extra there. Move approval.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. The interesting one here, so we allowed concrete box and aluminum both be bid. And concrete came in substantially cheaper, and which is great. I do like the concrete box culverts compared to aluminum, so that was good to see. One little curveball is we did take the lowest bid per location rather than lump sum. So we have the department's recommendation be is accept the bid from Bowman Contracting for 3 locations and Brian back for 1, with chair and auditor's signature on both. So moved.
First and the second, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, the next one is for a low water crossing in Gilby Township. So that's just a mile straight west of town of Gilby, taking out a bridge, but then a low water crossing. This is one we had flex funds through the state of North Dakota. So the state pays 80%, we pay 20%. This one came in way lower than what we thought. Yeah, the engineer's estimate of construction was just over 700,000. It came in at half, 378,000 from Gowan. Concrete box and that whole industry is just, they've dropped their prices recently. And so this one, yeah, we would approve Gowan Construction and share an auditor's signature on the contract as well.
Second that.
First and a second, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you. Okay. I'm losing track of my list here, sorry. The last 2 items here, the highway department would propose the sale of our old Gilby shed, because we purchased the new AquaGuard implement right next door. So we have the old shed there. I don't know what we would need it for or do with it. I would propose we sell it. And the land that goes with it, so there's a lot that goes with it. There is some century code dealing with that we need to advertise in the paper for 2 weeks, notify the public, etc. We have an option to put it auction or sealed bid. I'd leave that up to the board if you had any desire which way it should go. for me, I just think we should sell the shed, and we're open to suggestions on that.
Madam Chair, is there any interest in that chip old shed?
There is.
There is, huh?
I've heard from one guy that lives across the street.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to pay for it, but. Yeah.
Assuming there's a cost to the auction, or is a sealed bid not so much?
If we did a sealed bid, we could. I mean, I remember Commissioner Ross, Sheriff Ross, he did a public auction at our county highway site.
We thought they go.
Somehow I doubt it, but. He could do some kind of an auction. Or just have sealed bids here, right?
I would recommend sealed bid, would you? I don't know.
Hiring an auctioneer or you, unless you just want to donate your.
Yes.
Yeah. The one advantage of hiring an auctioneer is we get the word out there better. Legally, I think all we have to do is put an ad in the paper, correct me if I'm wrong. Put an ad in the paper a couple times a week. Put an ad on the website, the county website, but I don't know how we get the word out there real well.
Some tells me you could probably count people interested in this on one hand, so it's probably 25, don't you think? Yeah.
I don't have a million either way, whichever's.
Probably be two of the neighbors bidding against each other.
Right, if you'll be.
What would the auctioneer charge us to do that?
10-15%, I don't know.
Madam Chair. You know, I don't know that it would be necessary to hire an auctioneer. If you wish to take that route, you could handle it similar to how we sell the tax foreclosure property. Debbie typically conducts those sales every year. She has paddles that are used. I'm excited. You know, it can be a pretty informal process like that. Like Mr. West had said, I can't imagine too much of a crowd, but sure.
I agree with you.
I don't know if it's gonna be a big hot item.
I would
People that are
second
interested are
that.
probably gonna be interested in.
The interest is gonna be out there anyway, like you said, the guy, you know, word of mouth, it'll get out there.
All right, we have a first and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Sealed bid.
Sealed bid, sir.
Okay, no problem, we can do that. So we're proposing to sell it here sometime in July, August. The farmers, are in the middle of harvest or spring planting. The last item for consideration today is the sale of 2 old salt trucks. We have 2 new trucks coming here the next month or 2 that will be able to duplicate what these do, plus plow snow and everything else. We'd like to sell these 2 older units. And they have to go to public auction. Of some sort, the past we've used the auction at the Blair Center or New York Mills auction or something like that. It'd be offered for sale, but I would request permission to sell the 2 old trucks.
One question, Andy, that gal down in Minneapolis that gets the police cars and stuff, would they be interested in handling these trucks?
In the trailer, so I doubt it. I don't know if they'd come up and get them.
Just a question, because we made out a lot better going through the auction in Minneapolis than our own auctions here. So,
Sure. I think if we put them on the Blair Center auction, they're gonna be. We're gonna take quite a hit on them. But in the New York Mill, when we've done well on that one too, with pickups. A couple times in the past, these are quite unique pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
I don't know who's gonna really want them besides another county or something.
So,
but
another question is, you know, like, towns like Northwood or Larimore or Thompson, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, they have to sand too, so.
Yeah.
I would just get the word out to them.
and,
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Happy the worst.
That's a little bit of a challenge.
Next list.
We have a motion.
Sale. Second.
Okay, we have first and second, sale of the salt trucks. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I make a comment to Mr. West? You may want to reach out not only to communities on the North Dakota side. There may be some small communities on the New Dakota that would be.
Take it and roll. Awesome. Yeah, you never know.
Parade or
They're probably the most likely client. Yeah. Thanks. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Well, I made it a lot of time.
That was, we just flew through that pretty quick. Yeah. One little tidbit for you. We rehabbed 3 bridges this year already. We were hoping to get 10 all year. And with the lack of snow, we're starting 4th next week.
Great.
So,
Standing.
yeah,
Good deal.
yeah. John's like, you better get some more bridge material.
Oh, Beerky.
Yeah, we will.
Madam Chair, I have no report for the board today.
Mr. Bierke.
I had a couple meetings, the MPO meeting, which shocked me, though, it really had nothing to do with the county. But I went. And I'm working on trying to get some stuff, but right now, mostly all city. And then we had an emergency manager board meeting. We are going to be in the process of opening up a second tornado shelter in the city of Grand Forks. We're looking at a church on the south end. I don't want to say it now until it's done, but we're looking at a church has volunteered, and we're looking at hiring a service that will, in a tornado warning, will be notified and come in and open it up. It looks to be for the year, barring an incredibly bizarre year, less than $5,000 a year. We're going to track it for a couple, 2, 3 years. How many people show up, what's it cost, et cetera, et cetera. But that way we'll have a UND's got a shelter on the north end, and this will give a shelter on the south end of the city. So we're working on that. And we also talked about, we lost a person there that if need be, they'll look at getting an intern, whether it be depending on what they do, a marketing type, something like that. We go to UND, or NDSU apparently has an emergency management degree of some kind. And so if it's more along that line, maybe get somebody there. So I talked to her about it, and we'll just follow up on that if need be. If she needs help, a specific project or something, we'll look at getting an intern. I do have a couple of things for the next meeting. I'll just throw those out there. I'd like to have, by then the dust has settled, a legislative update from Mr. Ford on everything but the highway. And then I've already talked, and Mr. West is going to bring a highway. So an update on caps, property taxes, highway, all the bills and ins and outs of who funds what. So they're both going to do that next meeting. I'm requesting that Mr. Ford, his contract and job description be put on the agenda, and then he can, if there's any issues, he can bring them up, and then we can talk that out and vote. Be done with that next meeting. And then the other thing is I'm asking Mr. Ford to do is to work with HR. I believe there's like 8 people making less than $20 an hour at the county. I'd like to have them look at getting all that up, whatever we have to do that, and bring that to back to us when they can. We got to be competitive. As we've seen some of these jobs, there's going to be a lot of hiring and firing. So try and eliminate some of that by being a little more competitive with the pay.
And I have something, Commissioner.
Sure.
I think an adjunct to that it'd be pretty wise for us to also bring up Mr. Dershowski, Ms. Leon, and there's a fourth, it escapes me. Oh,
It was a sheriff.
Sheriff.
That's on the list already. I mean,
okay.
he's supposed, that's part of budget discussion, we're gonna, and close that as part of that too, for those three for raises, yes. So I've already put that, but, I just, we're not competitive and Mr. Pacheco made a great point. Obviously we have great benefits, but they gotta put food on the table. And so, they gotta pay the bills. So I just think of, hopefully we'll see, but, it's not that much more money, but it's gonna be, able to give those people a little more money in their pocket to pay the bills. And it's not that much. So if those two things could, Mr. Ford, if you coordinate getting on the agenda then?
Yes, sir.
And that's all me. And just for an update, I've got the mayor to go with me, so don't know the times and dates yet. But it's gonna be a double dunk tank. It's gonna be two of us. I'm gonna be there and the mayor, as long as we can work it out, the mayor has volunteered. And so, you bring the balls to throw at us. I'm gonna bring some insults if you miss. I'll put it that way. And I'll let you know, we're still working on the details of the fair. We're gonna try and set up a date and time for us to do what we're trying to go opening day to get it with a big bang. So, I'll let everyone know, it should be a long list of people throwing, I think.
I'm guessing most of them are sitting in here.
So I'll keep you updated on that and the fair's 6-7 weeks away, so middle of June, so, we'll be doing a lot of meetings. I'll keep you updates on that, but, we're trying, really motivated to try and get the fair to where the fair pays for its operations. And so that we can focus on the money we give them, along with the new state bill that passed, up to $100,000 can be used for infrastructure. And so we can combine our money, they pay for the fair through what they do, and try and use our money and the state grant money to make the needed infrastructure improvements at the fair. And I think that's a better way to go. Try and get them on their own, but we'll help fix some stuff up there with the cash.
I'm sure I do have a question of Commissioner Bearkey. Do you know if that grant is going to be annual or every 2 years?
As of right now, the way, that's why we have to do updates. The way I understood it is it's a biennium. You can get up to 100,000, but it's gotta be matched. So
100%.
yeah, 50-50, yeah. And so the key is if we can get out of subsidizing having the fair and get that into infrastructure. Now you're looking at, depending on how much we give, $250,000 every 2 years going to fix it. And we could get some stuff fixed up there in a hurry, but that, right now, it's trouble finding things. Yes, so that's where our focus is at. So hopefully the dump tank is gonna generate spring.
I suspect there will be a long line.
So that's all I had. That's all I had. Thanks.
Madam Chair, can I ask a clarification? That to Commissioner Rusted's question. So on the 20th, was it the intention to also look at the Mr. Yashewski and Leon as well on the 20th or Ms. Leon?
Well, my point, I don't know if all your job descriptions and stuff for that. I would like to, this year have beef, make that just part of the
Budget.
the budget over the next couple of months, and we could do that, finish it, and then we can implement and start it once the information's all gathered. I know they're still working on Ms. Leon's job description, and so those three should be taken care of in the next couple of months. That's what I was looking at, unless you really have a hardware, Mr. Preston, about that.
No, I know those were the four that were getting looked
Yeah.
at, and so I thought we could kill them all.
Yeah.
But no heartburn. I mean,
It's
certainly not as much support people will be making less for the next few months.
That's kind of that's my only concern, and I'll readdress it another time, but it's asking these others to start picking up duties moving forward and not being compensated for the extra.
But if you can get them sooner, that's fine, but I just, as long as we have all your job descriptions done, everything's ready to go. I know her job's changing some, his job has changed some as far as buildings and ground, just as long as it's all done.
Yes, sir.
Whatever you gotta do to get it done.
Okay, thank you.
That's all the news I have.
All right. I have nothing to report at this time.
Yeah, I got, Robin from the YAC that, has to address some issues. So I guess at this time, Robin, I'll just have you come up and give the board a brief summary of what's going on.
Chair Hagan, members of the board. So we do have a lieutenant who left unexpectedly on medical leave. We are unsure at this time how long he is going to be out. As you all know, we should be moving in the next month or so to our new facility. This is our year of our 3-year PREA audit, which is quite extensive, and that lieutenant is our PREA coordinator. So I'm asking that, or requesting that I appoint one of my officers take on some additional duties. I think we said an extra $2 an hour is what we figured, so that she can assist in helping with some of the stuff as we transition. And I should be well within my budget. We're pulling in a lot more revenue than expected.
So moved. Second.
I just have one quick question. So she'd be making $2 an hour during just that time period and after this person comes back.
Correct. Yep.
With appreciation from at least one board member for stepping up in a time that, like Colleen over here. Yeah, I mean, it's appreciated when somebody has all their teammates back. So.
First and a second, or all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And that's all I had.
Here, probably you've seen in the news, airport got a nice grant for the runway, to the state legislature. That's kind of the big news there. They're finalizing a lease agreement with the University of North Dakota, so they called an emergency, so to speak, meeting on Friday morning, which I'll be attending. EDC is kind of doing what EDC does, and they're putting together a contingency plan for any budget reversals that they may receive from the city or the county. And so they're kind of getting ready for plan B, C, D, etc. And that's what I've got today.
And I don't have any additional things to add to the board. So we go to unfinished business, Grand Sky invoice.
So I want to notify the board that there is a conflict of interest on this particular agenda item due to a financial interest. My company is going to be paid from Grand Sky on this particular invoice. So I would ask for a motion allowing me to vote on this agenda item, but I really want to not allow me to vote on this agenda item. It's a little, the language is confusing, is it not? But this is the way I have to legally do it. So basically kick me out of this vote.
So can I make a motion to recuse Mr. Rusted? Is that,
Yeah.
that my motion is to recuse him, Mr. Rusted on this issue?
I'll second it.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. With Mr. Unanimously with Mr. Estes. So we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Mr. Estes. Buildings closure pay. Is it building closure pay? Where we, sorry, those Grand Fork County procurement. Sorry, I was looking at it at a weird angle. Grant administration.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I placed on each of your desks, an updated copy of the proposed procurement and grant administration policy. Also in that same file was our current policy on purchasing / leasing of equipment. This is the policy that is currently in place. So, I would ask for a motion to repeal this old policy and enact this new policy. And I could kind of explain a bit. The county auditors are requesting we have a more robust policy to comply with federal law. It's pretty unique for us to get direct funds from the federal government. Most often they are funneled through the state. So much of this policy doesn't apply real frequently. In comparison to what was included in the packet, I'll just highlight some of the changes that were made on this hard copy that you have. one change is on page 3. Halfway down the page, right before 1 and 2, it was clarified that these micro purchases and small purchases, and the formal purchases apply to procurements utilizing federal funds. And then if you flip to page 5, right before the title grant administration, it was clarified that all county purchases that do not utilize federal funds shall follow any procurement requirements provided by North Dakota law. The other change that was made from the version that was provided in your packet is on page, also on page 5. Under paragraph 1, the prior version indicated that under grant administration, paragraph 1, that if hourly employees record their time on an electronic timekeeping software, that we obviously don't have, so that was struck from this provision. Otherwise, it remains the same. I stand for any questions that anyone might have regarding this policy.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
I have a question on page number 4, paragraph 3A, bullet point number 5. It says a firm fixed price contract will be made in writing to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. I've brought this up before about this because in my previous government, I had an issue with some contractors who, in my opinion, were extremely poor, and I never would vote for them to lead a one-card parade, much less fix anything. And I was wondering if we should have some type of policy where we're in that to protect ourselves, that if we have an issue with the contractor, to make sure that we're documenting it in paper, and that, so then if the next year some bid comes up and they win it, we know you did this, here's the 16 things you did wrong, you are not a responsible bidder. We're going to go to the next highest bidder because we don't trust, I would say, we don't trust you. So is there something we should do along that line, some kind of paperwork trail, or is that get us in trouble some other way?
Commissioner Gerke, members of the board, we certainly could include some requirement of documentation in those scenarios. With that said, the term lowest responsive and responsible bidder is a term of art in the law, in the respect that the law has clarified what a responsible bidder is, and if there have been past history of issues, we could not consider them a responsible bidder under the law. So I think that language has sufficient clarification in the law that we wouldn't have to clarify. But if you wanted to add a provision that county departments were required to document prior instances with certain contractors, we could include that.
Okay, so, that language is fine, then that is my next question, this policy debate. Should we make sure we're documenting? And I know the county's a lot less building than the city had, but we're not all gonna be here forever. And I saw with 2 in particular that I said, well, maybe Nicola. The work was just so bad. And I mean, I just made a personal thing, I would never vote for them, but should we, as a policy, be making sure we're I don't mean little, but I mean, it's to the point where it reaches an issue, to make sure we are documenting it, so that if we have an issue, we're protecting ourselves if they're the low bidder and we deny it. So I'm kind of throwing that out there, whether it be the staff or the other commissioners think about, should we have a process?
I have a question for responsive. So responsible bidder, I'm understanding what you're saying, but do we have to have evidence to support that they are an unresponsible bidder, or is it just like, this is what they did last time, this is my word, rather than
we looked up and it noted, you know, whoever it may be, they noted that you did A, B, C, and D and reasonable consequence. We don't think there's.
Madam Chair, members of the board, to have written documentation certainly is best practice. Is it required? Not necessarily. And, you know, maybe Mr. West has some input here. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I imagine in a scenario where we want to deem a contractor as not responsible, there's probably a robust back and forth that maybe has already been documented to get them to that point. But I don't know if Mr. West has any further insight.
In response to Madam Chair, members of the board, this is certainly a topic comes up once in a while. Luckily, professionally, I've rarely had this issue come up for me, but it does happen, and happened to us last year. My experiences within the engineering field is that you need to have, and improve it at the state level is pretty hard. You almost have to get the contractor removed from the bidders or accept allowable bidders list. You know, locally, there's a little more flexibility with what Ms. Wanstead said, but we would need to have a substantial reason. And I don't know how many instances or how bad the instance has to be in order to deny them. I've luckily never been in that seat before. Been really close a number of times, but I don't have a lot of experience or advice to offer on this topic, but it certainly comes up.
On the documentation aspect, wouldn't you foresee that if there was a contractor that was coming close to that point, we probably would have pretty robust documentation anyway?
I would recommend, yes, that is in place.
Well,
Just a comment, because I deal with this all the time in the state of Minnesota. If you use any federal dollars, not commingled, but a penny of a federal dollar coming into our public transit contract, we have to do all the government stuff. And SAM.gov is a place to go to. And a lot of agencies or programs get federal funding and have to do that. SAM.gov has a whole listing of excluded companies in the United States that are not good companies, have done things not well. So there is a spot in a national database that you can look it up. And the same thing with, you know, whether they call it commingling at the state or not. If any federal dollars come into a project, whether the state is giving it to you or not, it's still federal dollars. So in our contract world, we have to do procurement according to the Department of Transportation. We have to do everything as the debarment, the suspension, all of that, when we're using our contracted dollars from MnDOT, which are state and federal, to take care of that project. So there are places to find that. The other thing too is to check the Better Business Bureau at the state level. Because if a company is not good and it's been turned into the Better Business Bureau, that will be on there as well. I mean, so there's places to look. It's not easy, but there are places.
I mean, if it's not necessary for us to keep, I mean, as you said, there's probably some back and forth documentation already. Is there really unnecessary to add another layer of things to do? Document this. If that's your opinion, I mean, I'd be okay leaving it the way it is unless somebody else has a different opinion.
well, as long as if we have an issue, we document, so then the next year when you bid, I just want to make, because in the land of no offense lawyers, you're going and here you go. So it's just important for us to cover our bases.
Well, and in request for quotes or proposals, you can always ask for some references. too. I mean, most of the time they're gonna give you positive references, but you can ask for references and you can even state within the last 3 years or whatever. It isn't, so if you talk with individuals or companies that have utilized those businesses and they've had some frustration, most of the time they're gonna share it because they know that they're getting their name out to get a referral on that. particular topic.
I'm good. I just want to
Okay.
cover the bases. Well, I'll move approval with the mention of changes and the deletion of the past policy, repeal of past policy.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
I,
Opposed, motion passes. Building closure date.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, this was discussed at the last commission meeting. There's nothing to present today. Ms. Thiel and I have discussed it though, and we're continuing to discuss it. We've got some ideas on if we're gonna change this policy. We might insert some others that make sense, such as instead of a weather closure, a building closure policy, for example. So we'll work in that and communicating. And just also very, very quickly, because it came up regarding the pay plan and electronic timekeeping. We recognize the commission has set some deadlines, so we are just still discussing those. And they're on. Ms. Thiel's been actually looking into this quite extensively, so it's still ongoing and being reviewed. We'll have something with the building closure soon.
Commissioner Ross rescinding his resignation letter.
and I'd like to comment on that if I could. So the month of April has pretty much been like a, going on a merry-go-round. Thanks to, Michelle Thiel and, Roberta, we've been going back and forth with North Dakota PERS, but, you know, I found out in early April that some other, people, other sheriffs who are now county commissioners or auditors that are, county commissioners are all having an issue with getting their pensions. So I looked into it. Actually, Roberta and Michelle both looked into it. And so if I know something, I'm not gonna sit on it. I'm gonna find out what's going on. And so I did. And so North Dakota PERS is basically was a compliance check was done by the federal government, probably the IRS, as I understand, said they're doing everything all wrong. When I retired from the sheriff's office and I started as a county commissioner, I followed all the rules as set out by North Dakota PERS. As far as not having to pay into North Dakota PERS as a commissioner, because I thought, well, I'm getting a pension. I don't need to pay into the retirement system. So that went for a little while, and then all of a sudden, we got a note from Mary Jo over at North Dakota PERS that said, well, if you resign from the county commission, you know, we can, you can continue on with your pension. And so I thought, well, okay, so I resigned. It was effective, going to be effective April 30th. And then all of a sudden I found out, well, we froze your pension. So my pension is frozen. And so I'm not getting it. There is a meeting next week in Bismarck with North Dakota PERS Board of Directors, and they are going to address this issue. Now, this goes way beyond me. There's probably at least 20 people in the state of North Dakota that this affects, most of which are probably county commissioners, and they're all in the budget cycle. So North Dakota PERS was gonna talk about it this week. Their agenda is gonna come out, and they will address it next Tuesday. It's gonna be an all-day meeting. And I said, okay, so if I go to Bismarck, can I say a few words? They said, probably not. So unless I have a grievance, and I don't have a grievance yet, but so we'll just have to see how things go. I would very much like to stay on the commission. I don't plan on running again, after my term is up. I think 48 years in county government is probably enough, but, I have an obligation. The people of Grand Forks voted for me, to do this job, and I have heard from so many of them that I think this is a bad deal. This is really bad. So, and that word has been heard in Bismarck. A lot of politicians now are involved in this thing, from Senator Hoven all the way down to Drew Wrigley. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this thing shakes out next week. Ideally, with all the problems that they're having right now, they let me continue as county commissioner and collect my pension. That would be ideal. But they might say I might have to give up county commission. So we'll just have to wait and see how that meeting comes out. The agenda is supposed to be out this week. In fact, it was supposed to be out today. It's supposed to be a week prior to their meeting. And so I'll be watching.
Well, my official position is people will interview when we should stay here until your term is done. I think that's how it works. Sheriff Schneider.
Thank you. Sorry. I forgot to mention two things. I apologize. It is my first official corrections officer appreciation week. So this week, if you see any of your corrections officers, please tell them thanks for what they do. We appreciate them. And we're learning on how to appreciate them this week. So working on that. Also, I'd like to invite all of you to the National Peace Officer Memorial ceremony that is next May. It's next week, May 15th, 2:00 at Optimus Park. We keep the program to an hour, and it is very organized, square away, and I think that you would all appreciate it. It will happen rain or shine. I mean, if there's hail and tornadoes, we might move it indoors, but otherwise we'll be out there. So
May 15th, 2:00.
in Optimus Park. Yep. Thank you.
I was at last year. It was nice.
Years ago, we went front in the rain. That's pretty fun. Rain or shine, no kidding. Mr. West is notifying you really quick. Go ahead. You're good.
We didn't, Chairman Hagan, members of the board, we didn't talk about the rest of prairie dog funds. Forgot to discuss that at the end of when I was up here.
Go ahead, yeah.
So we had 5.3 million in prairie dog funds. We have 1.6 million left that's unobligated. Bids came in nice, and I had a little bit of fluff deliberately built in there, about 400,000. These bids came in high, we could still do them, but bids were all very favorable. Just to remind the board, you have to report back to the state what we spend on, so there's an audit process there. But it's culverts, boxes, paving projects, so good stuff. So if you have something you would like to get done, let me know, but I'm hoping next meeting to come back to the board with a list of probably more box culverts, maybe a paving segment or two, something like that. So, as far as completion dates, I don't know if we'll get it done this year, but it could be done next year.
Can any of those prairie dog funds be used, say, for bridges? You know, we always have a number of bridges that aren't rated as high. Can there be anything done to those bridges to try to make them safer?
Yes, usually like the 4 box culverts that are done here, those are township road bridges that are in poor shape and they'll be replaced. The other option would be like a rehab. I haven't used prairie dog for that yet. Usually those are cheaper and we do ourselves. That would qualify if we wanted to. I haven't done that yet. I've tried to knock out bigger projects that would be harder for us to do with our own funds. But, yeah,
You'll bring a list in 2 weeks.
yes.
Okay, I'm good.
Slash, a list / I'm open for discussion and what the board wants, so. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Kaczynski, we may have moved up his motion for staffing, so.
Thank you once again. One point that is, we didn't cover, on that is I would have a staff member that would be below starting wage, who is an exemplary staff member that I wouldn't want to be negatively impacted by somebody coming in either under experienced or inexperienced or area, maybe less than higher. To bring that one staff member up to the higher wage at means in order to make sure there's no ill sentiment within the group.
Well, that's why at the next meeting, I bring the whole list. Whoever that person is, plus anybody else in the county, and we could do them all at
Yeah.
once. At the next meeting,
That's good.
yeah, so let's do them all, so yeah, that will be addressed.
Okay, the Covenant Lower Taxes Public Hearing. Our correspondence. They're coming to our next May 20th meeting, right? With more informational
Well,
review at your meeting.
I got a lot of information here.
Oh,
And here, I'll try and get you by the first team, my friend, but, I want to have this discussion on the do right now. I want to have it now when a business isn't here. Because this isn't about a business. This is about what we're doing here. And so that's why I want to discuss it tonight. Because I don't want it, I don't care who the name of the company was. It's nothing personal to that company. I got some points. I want to make sure we all, not that you don't know, but I come from a different angle, obviously, so I just want to review some things on this. And for the record, when I was in the city council, I never voted for one of these. Because I don't understand a tax policy where 99.9% of the taxpayers that have businesses pay full price and 1/10 gets a 10 or 15 or 20 year deal. I don't get the logic of it. I've seen the so-called economic development of the city and the county for over 40 years, that the answer is to do stuff like this. And we just saw the state of us property tax, so clearly it hasn't worked. And so I want to go through this. I'm gonna go through this one specifically as an example, but I just want to make sure we're all on board. You vote however you want. I just tell you right now, I'm an automatic no on all. I don't care who it is, so, but I want to go through some things. So I just read the tax policy. So I want to have a little discussion here. The first thing I would like to do, if we're going to do this, I'd like to have in the future, the state's attorney sign off, so to speak, that all applicable laws, guidelines, whatever word you want to use, are being followed. So there is no question about whether we're doing something above board or not. So I'd like to have the state's attorney review all this documentation. And then Ms. Wong said at the night we vote on it, I've reviewed this information, because we're not generating this. This is coming to us. And I trust them, I verify it. So she'll verify to make sure, so there is no question that we're doing something, but that somebody's trying to pull one by. So I like to have that as part of the policy. In this deal, if you look through the documents, they're getting a 10-year, 100% tax exemption. 10 years for 100% on the improvement. If you scroll down, could you go to line number 20, please? Did I say that wrong down or okay, yeah. Keep going. Okay, go to 20. Okay. If you look at on your screens there, by the year 2, their net income is more than double. Their income, not their revenue, their income is going to more than double by the second year. And they can't pay the county $53,700 in income and property tax, while it's almost a $7 million plus increase in revenue. I mean, excuse me, in income, not revenue. I want to point out, scroll down a little bit more to number 21. And that's why I want to do them when I'm not here. I don't want to feel like they're creating 5 jobs at $60,000 a year. And for that, they're going to get a property tax exemption for 10 years at 100% for 5 jobs. There are plenty of businesses in this town that have created 5 jobs that got diddly squat. What we would get out of this is 53, I'm rounding off numbers to kind of average them. It's over 10 years. It's roughly 53,700 a year for 10 years. And then it would, once it went away, go up to our share, would go up to 87,000. The city, school, and the park can do whatever they want. I don't care. I have no authority over it. In fact, I moved out of town to get away from all three, but that's the same. So I'm looking at our 53,700 will pay the salary for one of the 8 new jailers we have to hire. I just want to put that in perspective. The city, more than double. I'm not asking for $53,700 discount. So they can work it out and come back and try a deal. I don't think we should give them anything. $60,000 a year. So not only, and I hope you saw that list of exemptions, business after all these, this 1/10 of 1%, all the money they're not paying. So not only will we get that revenue, we're giving $360,000 more every year for economic development. I could make the argument if that's what we're going to do, then we should keep that whole $360,000 for ourselves to mitigate all the money we're not getting paid because these people aren't paying taxes for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years to make ourselves whole. So, I mean, if we're going to do this, I think our economic development money should be compensation for us not getting paid taxes for all the businesses that are getting these deals. And I want to repeat, and I'm not bashing the city here, we don't have to do this. They're making the deal. So if they want to make a deal and do this, go for it. But we don't have to do this. We are not bound to do this. And so, so that's pretty much where I'm at. So that's why I just wanted to make sure, I'm not even going to mention the company's names, that I want to make, it's not personal. This is a policy debate. And with our financial situation, I want us to just, everyone be clear what we're doing here, because there's that list of exemptions. And like I said, if this goes through, then I guarantee you, I'm going after every penny of that economic development money next year.
May I make some comments? In previous years, when businesses or when the city came forward to ask for that, the county, the releasing some of the county tax on those particular businesses, there was a lot of discussion relative to, at that time, they were like 10 and 15 years. And pretty much the majority of the commission kind of talked about, we could maybe see 5 years because, you're getting started in whatever your business and you're working your way up. But we certainly did not, we were very concerned about the 10-year and the 15-year discussion. So this has been a topic on the commission previously.
I would have thought back when I was not that long ago, it was 5 years. It was 100%, 80%, 60, 40, 20. It equated to 300% off over 5 years. We've got things on there, 15 years at 83% off, 20 years. We are, it's a ton of money, man. At the same time we're doing this, we're telling the other 99% of businesses they pay full price. And if now the cap, but in many years we're raising taxes on people while they're getting a sweetheart deal. So, like I said, I just hope we really consider this. And I know it's not going to go over well with certain people, but I'm just sorry. If you want to give your money away, knock yourself out. I don't believe we're in a position that we should be giving our money away. We've got to get through this budget, see where we're at, and take a break. And I'll be blunt. If I knew some government entities, well, I wouldn't do it, but theoretically, if somebody knew that they're just going to, all you have to do is say we have to have it or we're not coming, and they know they're going to get. When FedEx moved to Fargo, one of the city commissioners at the meeting said, "Are you coming no matter what?" And they said yes, and they still gave them a ton of money off. Call the bluff. That's where I'm at. My rant's over. Thank you for your time.
I think he's got his article figured out for tomorrow too. Yeah.
There's just something, in 2 weeks we vote, so I wanted to do, like I said, in a policy, non-confrontational way with the company, because it's not the person.
Any other comments from the commissioners on this topic?
Well, I kind of agree with Commissioner Bierke, which is kind of
Should that be noted?
different for me, but we don't have the finances the city of Grand Forks has. We don't.
Right. Extra buckets of
I mean,
money.
I just see them spending money like it's going out of style. And here we're just trying to make things go here at the county, and we're having a hell of a time. I totally agree with him. I just think this tax abatement thing is, you know, especially when he just pointed out about that they're gonna double their income in 1 year. It's like, come on, folks. And I don't know what the school board or park board or city of Grand Forks is gonna do, but I'm on board with that, Commissioner Beardy.
How are the people, buddy? Yeah, all right.
Look at this, he's got a smile.
We're gonna have a group hug here when we're done. Look at the camera. Oh, your phone.
Oh. Okay, hold on, note that just alone. Mr. Beardy and Ross are on the same page. All right,
History's been made.
there's not any other comments on this. Where are we at? Grand Forks Regional Airport Authority financial audit, financial statements. Any comments?
Shockingly, I have a comment on this too. Because I'm looking at this money stuff, for 2025, the net levy for county airport authority, I know you dropped it last time, I remember that, is 146,353. If you go through this document, UND is 95% of their operations. Let me repeat that.
Yeah,
I hope everybody hears this. UND is 95% of their operations. They have a passenger facility charge that has not been increased for 24 years. The last increase that I could read through these documents was in 2001, where it went from $3 to $4.50. I could make the joke here, if you can afford to fly out of this airport, you can pay another $1 a ticket. At $1 a ticket for their passengers, that's probably 2/3 to 3/4 of the money we send them every year, just by $1. But they haven't raised that fee since April 1st of 2001, according to this document. On page number 28 of this document, it says they have deposits in the bank of $13,503,355. Their last year's expenses were $7.85 million. So they could go 1 3/4 years with no revenue and still pay all their bills. 1 3/4 years, no revenue at all, and still pay all their bills. So the question I have is, and I think it's a fair question as we go through the budget cycle, is why are the taxpayers subsidizing this airport? They got money in the bank. They got places they can get other revenue. Why are we subsidizing them? And they can come and make the argument. I'm all for it, but I want to put that out there because that's another $146,353.
Couple meetings ago, there was reference to potentially city actually taking instead of regional airport, which would get us up. It's my understanding. It was obviously a board seat. They would fall under the city council and the mayor. So the county would have no say, but that does appear that there's a little moment heading in that direction based on what I watched on the city council. Might, you know, that might not be something we gotta worry about in the future.
Well, I just want to throw it out there as we get into the budget cycle. I don't know if we should be subsidized. Like I said, somewhat of us are. Okay. If you can afford to fly out of here, other $1 not going to matter. And UND, if that's 95% of your operations, I'm running a business. I know where a lot of my revenue is coming from. And if you look through the revenue on here, it's not coming from there. Let's make some more friends. I just want to throw it out there till we take a look.
Special assessments on county properties.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Okay.